I woke up this morning with God on my mind. He's always by my side. I know it'll be a good day. Trials come, but they don't ruin my life. Because I have the light, it's always a good day. I believe everything I said is true. The word is inside you. Declare it is a good day.
What's up, everybody? It is your girl, Donjia M Walls, and we are back again with another Ask 15 Questions 2. And I am extremely excited about this one. I have been waiting patiently for this one. This series is Ask 15 Questions to an LPN, and we are here with Erika Carr. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for her. Yes. So this last name may look very common because we had her husband on here for a series that we did for Ask 15 Questions to a pastor / entrepreneur. So thank you so much, Erika, for being on today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, we are so excited. So I have 15 questions that I am going to ask you. Feel free to pass on any of them if you want. But the first question, obviously, is what is an LPN?
LPN is a licensed practical nurse. So I don't want to say less than or more than because I don't want to degrade anybody, but I'm talking about in regards to the education scale. So we're higher than a medical assistant, but we're less than a registered nurse. So we're in between a medical assistant and a registered nurse. So usually licensed practical nurses, we can work in nursing homes. We could do home care. We could do some clinics. Because we do have the title of nurse, but we're not as advanced educationally wise as a registered nurse.
Okay. So that kind of segues, and you're like your husband, you're segueing into my next question. So the next question is, how is it different than an RN?
Okay, RN, it's like I just said, is a registered nurse. So RNs, they have more education. So they go to school. Like I went to Lincoln Tech. So I went to school for a year. And then, but a registered nurse, they can usually go to a community college, or sometimes they go to, usually community colleges, because a RN, you can go to school for 2 years. And then start working in the hospitals. But then you have a BSN, which is a bachelor's of science in nursing. So of course, those BSNs, usually, of course, they work in the hospitals as well. A lot of them deal with they're like the top nurses of the floor. You'll see them a lot in offices, things of that nature. And then, of course, you can get your master's, and you can also become a nurse practitioner, which is like a doctor. So they can write prescriptions and things of that nature. So it's just the hierarchy of nurses. So I'm the bottom of the nurse.
You are not the bottom.
I don't want to degrade it, because we all serve a very important role within the medical field, you know, just like a worker for God, there's pastors, there's bishops, there's all these things, but we all have an important role. We all have a great purpose. So educationally wise, I'm in the bottom, but I serve just a great purpose as a nurse practitioner.
Yes, absolutely. That's great. I honestly did not know that there were so many different variations of nursing. I do remember, I'm assuming based off of what you just said, that this young lady was a nurse practitioner. Because she was talking about the schooling, and she was she was the one that I would see the most when my sister was in the hospital. And she was writing prescriptions, and she was I kind of do the same thing that the doctor does. He'll come in and he'll say 2 words, but I'm the one that's gonna give you everything. And I'm wow, okay, yes, I'm assuming.
And I think because with the nursing title, you have much more of a bedside manner. You're able to communicate more with the patients. You have more of an understanding. You give more care and love, to individuals, compared to having the doctor role that you have to be so quick and just give quick diagnoses and quick, nursing. When you're a nurse practitioner, you're able to spend more time with them, get to know the family. So it's different, nursing versus being a doctor.
Yeah. Even if you think about like nursing as like a parent, right? Like you nurse your children. So, all right, that is cool. So, question number 3: what inspired you to become an LPN?
Well, actually, and I think this ties into probably something else you'll ask, but initially when I went to school, I wanted to be a forensic pathologist. So I wanted to become a doctor. That was my
Say that
goal.
title again.
A forensic pathologist.
Okay.
So that deals with autopsies.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do autopsies, and but you have to go to medical school for that.
Okay.
And initially, I was enrolled. I was in the pre-med program in Seton Hall University. So when I was little, I thought of being a nurse, and then of course it quickly turned from nurse to a doctor. So I did want to be in the medical field all my life. I just thought doctor, because that's when it's like, to me, that's more ingrained in you to become a doctor than it is to become a nurse.
Right.
So I started at Seton Hall University. I was in the pre-med program. I did 2 years, and it just wasn't for me. Like, I would study. My first year, I studied, and I still didn't get the good grades that I wanted. And that was so different for me, because from little, I got straight A's, so for me to then go into college and not get the A's that I'm used to, I'm just like, what is going on? Like, no, this is not supposed to be happening.
Yes.
I'm just smarty pants. I know what I'm doing. Like, no, but it was hard. The university was really difficult. So, then I left Seton Hall University, because that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to become a nurse. If I can't become a doctor, this is becoming too difficult. Then I started thinking I have to do the 4 years of university. Then I have to go to 4 years of med school. Then, because I wanted to become a forensic pathologist, I would have to study 2 or 3 more years in that specialty. That's 12, 13 years of schooling. I was just
all your life.
I was just like, no way. I'm sorry. I want to have kids. I want to get married. This is just not for me. So, so then that's when I decided to become a nurse. After that second year, that I was just like, it's just not working out for me. So then I was just like, my counselor was telling me to stay within Seton Hall to then do School of Nursing. But I was just like, at the end of the day, when you start realizing the different levels of nursing, I was like, I can go to a community college instead of paying thousands in a private university.
Right.
I can go to a community college, save some money, because that's another thing. I was working. I was going to school and working. So I was just like, I'd rather just go to a community college, become an RN. But that didn't work out either. So with life difficulties, I had a mom that had a really bad car accident, and she needed my help, so I needed to work full time, pay the rent, because at that point in time, Social Security and everything was taking forever. So she had no income. So I was working 2 jobs. I was working a full-time, a part-time, and going to nursing school. So it was a lot on me. So I was trying to study. I was trying to do what I could. And my job was an EMT. I was an emergency medical technician, working the 911 system, having calls like crazy. I was working in Passaic, New Jersey, and I was also working in Bloomfield, New Jersey, as an EMT. So those are busy cities to work. So it wasn't like I had a whole bunch of downtime to study and do everything, like I was busy. So I failed by 1.2 points. 1.2 points. I couldn't excel to the next level of nursing school. So then they put you on a probation period. You have to wait a year to then join the nursing school again. I was like, I'm not going to sit on my butt. Like, I can't, I have things to do. I'm motivated to become a nurse. So I was like, you know what, the RN, I can do the LPN course in a year instead of just sitting on my butt for a year. I could do the LPN course in a year. And that's what I did. I joined Lincoln Tech, became an LPN. And I must say, God works everything out. The tools and the format that I learned within RN school, I didn't master it there. But when I went to LPN school, to me, the studying and the things that I could have did when I was in the RN school, it just clicked for me in the LPN school. It was just like, wow, like the format, because the way to study for nursing, it's really different than regular traditional college and stuff. It's very, very hands-on. You have to try to remember things on the drop of a dime. So I didn't have that before, that capability and that understanding. So when I did the LPN school, it just clicked. So I flying colors through that schooling. So that was good. It's like I wanted to become a doctor and I wanted to work with dead people, but it turns out, it was like so extreme. Like now I'm a nurse. You actually have to care for the patients, talk to them, get to know them, really cater to their needs. So it's very different, but God has a way of aligning things. And I just love how each step of the way, I didn't allow the failures, to like completely derail me from my path, but I just kept trying. And, life is difficult. Because sometimes I would compare myself to like friends, but they didn't have to stop school and completely pay rent and do everything for the house and work multiple jobs while going to school, so it just taught me responsibility, taught me not to compare myself to everybody else. And if you have a goal, if you have a dream, you just got to keep pushing, even if you have to go to a lower level first and then work your way up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And funny, we kind of know the EMT story because that was your husband's love story. So we kind of know about you being an EMT already.
Yes.
Him and his mirage that he had, he said when you came out the ambulance. Yes. But funny story. So I had similar story. When I graduated high school, my goal was also to go into the medical field. Initially, I was a pre-med bio major, and it was so much math. And it is, so, okay, then so much math, and I despise math. Fast forward now, I teach Algebra 1.
Wow.
Extremes, right? So like I did that, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna just go into the education program. And literally up until the point of student teaching, like I was almost done. I just had to do student teaching, but one of the requirements for student teaching was that I couldn't work. Gotcha. And I'm like, how? Where is that gonna happen? And I had the best college advisors. A lady by the name of Dr. Adesanya. She's amazing. I still talk to her to this day. She was like, well, come over to the sociology department. And I've always wanted to be in like family advocacy anyway, like that type of thing. So it wasn't like an extreme pull away. I took sociology courses already. So it was like the easiest transition and the one that made more sense credit wise. But I ended up doing sociology and was able to do my internship on top of working.
Wow, great.
So it just ended up working out. And like you said, like God is very strategic in what he does. And when we just allow him to do what like he wants to do, everything just begins to like fall in place, right?
It sure does.
Yeah, and then like as a society, we get ingrained, like you said, doctor, right? But nurses are just as important.
Yes.
And as necessary as doctors are, right?
Definitely.
Like we need them. we need them. And if everybody wants to be a doctor, then who's going to be the nurse, right? Like, so yeah, I'm thankful for that. And I am going to tag both questions because that did tie into question number 4 as well about like, you always wanting to be, did you always want to be a nurse? But you kind of answered that. So we will go to question number 5. How long have you been in this field?
Okay, I became a LPN in 2011.
Okay.
So that's like what? Oh my gosh. That's a couple of years already. What, like 9 years, 8 years?
Is that 9 years?
See, my math.
9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
Going on 10 years.
Yeah, so that's That's how long I've been in it. And I love it. I've been working in home care. So
Right.
I'm a licensed practical nurse that's focused on home care. Because like I said before, you could work in nursing homes, you could work at clinics. But when I finished towards the ending of my education, was the pediatric study.
Okay.
And while I'm with them and doing the pediatric stuff, I could remember this girl that was with me. She was my partner, and she was just like, "You're gonna end up doing peds." And I was like, "No way!" I was like, "No, I don't want to deal with kids. I don't want, because you with pediatric LPN and you're doing home care, you deal with a lot of children that were born premature. So a lot of them haven't fully developed well. Their lungs usually aren't developed. So they have trachs and ventilators to help them breathe. A lot of them, they can't eat by themselves because they have the tube in their throat to breathe.
Okay.
So they have tubings coming out of their stomach, and we have to feed them through the tube. And I just thought, I was just like, no, that's so sad. Like, I can't work with children like that. I'm just like, I'm gonna be depressed. I don't want to see them in that state. And the first people that came to my school, because Lincoln Tech helps you find a job, so they'll have different agencies and different companies come to you to say that they're hiring LPNs, and a lot of them like LPNs right from schooling, because they can shape and mold them to be the nurses how they want, compared to working with a nurse for years. They're already stuck in their ways. They already, have their bad habits,
right.
So they prefer fresh out of school. So a agency called Star Pediatrics came, and they were talking to me, and I was just like, I'm going to give it a try. And I've been stuck. That's it. I've been doing pediatrics since then. I have not
really
and shaped. But I did, because my agency I work for Aviana Healthcare.
Okay.
And they have both adults and children. So I have worked with some adults, and usually the adults I work with, because I'm vet certified with the ventilator, I usually work with adults that have cancer. So usually with lung cancer, so that they need the ventilator, they need the trach in order to breathe effectively. So, but mostly almost all my patients have been
wow.
children.
The very thing you was like, no. It's always like that. The very thing, I promise you, I had this lady for years that was like, you're gonna be a teacher. You're gonna be. I'm like, lady, you are crazy. I'm not doing that. And I've been now, I'm 30 now. I think I've been teaching since I was 20.
Wow.
So 10 years I've been teaching after me going, nope, I'm not. And look, I'm not gonna, and that's that is hilarious. That is so funny. So I think you again kind of touched on this, but what are your current roles and responsibilities?
So currently I'm a home care nurse. So what I do is during my shifts, I will go to someone's home and I will care for whatever patient is there. So usually like right now, I'm pretty much full-time with one patient. And that's the thing, like once I go into a case, usually the families love me. So they want me there full time. They're like, no, you know what you're doing, and I think the experience of me being an EMT, they're comfortable if there's an emergency, that I know how to handle both the emergency aspect and the nursing aspect.
Right.
So, like I said, my patients have a ventilator. So I just monitor the ventilator. I make sure it has all the proper settings. I do vital signs every 3 hours. So just check their heart rate, their oxygen levels. Some of them you check their blood pressure, but a lot of the times for children, you don't have to check blood pressures. Their feedings and medication. So like I said, a lot of them have tubes coming from their stomach. So I have to feed them through the tubing, so just proper measurements. That math kicks in.
Right.
Making sure the medication levels are correct. So making sure that the dosages are correct for each patient, because especially with children, the dosages are based on their weight.
Right.
So you have to make sure your calculations for, even though the doctor is the one that gives the order, but we can't just blindly follow a doctor's order. We have to make sure to verify that the dosages are correct, because they're human. You know, they can mess up just like anybody else. So
yes.
So just doing things like that, making sure the dosages are correct, giving them their medications. Of course, since I deal with children and a lot of them don't walk, they don't talk. So just checking their diapers frequently to make sure that they don't get any rashes or anything like that. Changing them in position, because since they're bed bound most of the time, they can't move on their own. So if they stay in one location for too long, they can get bed sores. Even as children, you think bed sores and you think of
older.
No, but kids that are in that state, you know, since they can't move, you know, if something is under them, you know, God forbid, if a bottle cap goes in, you know, and starts putting pressure on a point, they can get a bed sore, things like that. So just frequently changing them in position. And also when you're a nurse in the home, you also have the family dynamic. So, catering to the parents, making sure that they're okay. A lot of them are depressed, you know, because they gave birth to a child that's, you know, ill, you know, so making sure, and because I'm a wife of a minister, you know, like
that always kicks in. You can't run from that.
Like you start ministering to them without even, you know, it just comes out, you know, and I thank God almost all my patients believe in Jesus. So it's just easy for me to be like, yes, come on, let's pray, let's do this, let's minister, you know, like it's just, you know, and I enter their homes in such a weak, low, you know, time. So, you know, ministering to them is so very important when it comes to the nursing aspect, when it comes to me anyway, you know, prayer and just hearing them out, you know, listening to the family members, getting to know them. You know, that's just all part of the nursing aspect. And also while you're there in the home, you know, you have to be a social worker. You have to be the nurse. You have to be a physical therapist, because if your patient needs, you know, movement because they're bed bound, they can't move on their own, giving them massages, you're a massage therapist. Right. So you become a little bit of everything when you're in the home. You know, you're not just a nurse giving them medication. You know, you have to, it's a whole routine that you start learning and doing when you're with them.
Yeah. And not being a wife of a minister, being a minister yourself. Okay. Yes. I heard that tag in there.
Why would I do that? I always do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm a pastor's wife or I'm a preacher's wife. I'm like, but you preach and teach and do stuff too.
Exactly. I wasn't gonna let that slide. She tried to be slick, y'all. But yes, that is like that's so true. Because even as an educator, we are all the things. Like especially now, we are completely remote. Like we're completely virtual. The school I work for, and there's so much. I can't tell you how many students I've had to like call home, or their parents called me because they were having anxiety attacks because of just being overwhelmed, or even coworkers having anxiety attacks, being overwhelmed, stressing over school, grades not being where it is, just not being motivated. So like, I'm a cheerleader. I'm like, you know, so you become like this most multifaceted individual, but even as believers, that is just who we are. Like we can't hide from, like, if there's a need, we feel it. You know, that's who God has called us to be. So yes, I know that you be all up in there setting the atmosphere. I know you do. Okay, question number 7. What would you say was your most memorable moment with a patient?
That's hard because they're all so different. And so the needs, the relationships with the patient and the parents are so different. So I must say, there's one patient that what I loved about his case is that when I entered the case, he was very little still. He was just a couple months. And then I left when he was 3 because I became pregnant with my second child. Okay. So I had to go on maternity leave. But in those 2.5 years that I was with him, he went from not talking, not walking to talking and walking. So I was able to assist in that journey of him, of seeing the mom completely down and out because she gave birth to this, the sickly child, to then him finally, getting the equipment that he needed to start learning to walk, going to speech therapy so he can start learning to talk, and just being the nurse that's at home with him. I would go to, and I worked during the day at that time. Like right now I'm working overnight, but back then I worked during the day. And going to the appointments with him, learning what the speech therapists were doing with him, and then incorporating it in the house. Seeing what the physical therapists were doing with him, and then incorporating it in the house. And I think that makes such a big difference, because there are some nurses, home care nurses, that are lazy. They just go there, they clock in their 8 hours of just giving meds and whatever, and just sitting there next to the patient, instead of really being hands-on with the patient, moving their muscles, doing things with them. So I would see what the therapist did, and I would make sure every day during my shift, I was making sure I was doing those exercises. So seeing him going from not talking, not walking, needing the ventilator, and then towards the end, he was fine. Like, he started walking and he was talking, and he was eating more, because feeding therapy is another thing he needed to do. So at first he wouldn't tolerate food at all, but by the time I had left, he was at least having the chunky baby food, and he was 3 years old, just starting chunky baby food. But now, thank God, his mom is my Facebook friend. He's fully in school, walking, talking, no more feeding tube, nothing. Like, he's a regular child now. So that's one of the success stories from being a nurse. All the other ones are still bedbound or whatever, but at least you can see a little bit of progress with them. In each case is so different. But that one really touched me, because I was hands-on with him, and to see him go from that little tiny being able to do anything to now this little boy that just running around talking it's beautiful.
And that is like, you just making a point of like how hands-on you were in the other facets of like what was going on, right? To be able to give that all around support, because even like, you could do things for a while, but if it's not consistently done, it doesn't promote progress at all. And I just think, I mean, no indictment on nobody else, but I'm believer kingdom. So believers just move different. I noticed that even when my grandfather was still alive and he was bedridden, all of the home care professionals we would get, it was always just something, like they weren't really doing, like we would always have to transition them out because they weren't doing what they need to do. And then we ended up with this lady who was a Christian. And when I tell you, this lady was, it not that I didn't check on my grandfather, but there's like a difference when you have people that you're skeptical about. I'm coming in the room more often. I'm making sure that, I got your schedule. I know what you're supposed to be doing at this time. And if it's not being done, I'm calling like, all right, we need to change out. She didn't give us a worry at all. She was a support to us as a family. She was like, she was just great. She was really, really great. And she was a believer. She would play worship music in the room with my grandfather. She would sing, like, she asked like what was his favorite like hymn, and like what scriptures did he like. And she was very, very in touch. And I could tell that she took her job. It was just more than a check for her. It was ministry. And that was like, wow, like, okay, because I'm like, at this point, I could be I could take care of them, because everybody else was just like, and then God blessed us with her. And I wish I could remember her name, because I would like truly reach out to her to thank her, because those moments for you all, like nurses and caretakers, I know, like, especially as a believer, like to see those things and the progress and all of those things, it's like, Wow, God, like you did that.
Exactly.
And thank you for using me, to assist you in this, but you
Yes,
did that.
exactly.
That
Nothing
is,
but God.
yes, that is great. So question number 8, how does your family feel about you being a nurse? So you list all your responsibilities and all the things you do, and you just mentioned you work overnight now.
Yes.
Like, how does your family feel about that?
Of course, my husband, he would prefer for me not to work overnight. But I started working overnight because when I had my second child, I know finding daycare and doing all of that for me to work during the day. And my little daughter was going to start preschool. She was going to start pre-K 3. So it was just like, it was going to be too much to try to do everything motherly during the day and have to be concerned if I go to work and then get called out, if they need to pick them up from school or something like that. So then I had told them, I was like, look, when I get back to work, I'm going to work overnight. So then that way I could be with the girls during the day, or if something happens during school, I can go pick up Anaya or Avery or whatever. And I've just stayed working that schedule for now. They love the idea of me being a nurse. They love, that the aspect of that, my knowledge, because I can apply it to my own children.
Right.
If something happens or a family member that might be sick, they'll call me up like, what is this about? What is this medication for? So that aspect they love.
Yes.
But the hours is difficult,
Okay.
but it's needed, at the moment, for me to work overnight. Probably when they get a little bit older and they're a little bit more independent and can go to school by themselves. Or even though with this world, I'm like, I'm going to take you to school and even if you're in high school, I'm going to drop you off. Like,
yes, my mother did. My very first time walking to school ever was my senior year.
Yeah, you see, like that's how I feel. Like I really and I would have thought I would be this parent. Like, I'm gonna be cool. Don't worry, I'm fine. No, I'm taking you to school. When there's a PTA meeting, I'm going.
Yes,
I'm gonna be.
Yes. Oh my gosh!
It's just showing the love and support, and working overnight. I can do that. I remember one time, my daughter's first, when she went to pre-K 3, Anaya had a Halloween parade, and I saw her come out, and I was part of the crowd, but I can see her like looking for me, like where's my mom? Where's my mom? Mm. And then when she finally saw me, her smile, like she was just so, and that carries me. Like that's like, all right, I'm gonna be tired. I'm not gonna get the rest that I need, but just knowing that smile, and that just knowing that I can be there during school events. Yeah. And every single time she sees me, like at a school event, whatever she's doing, we go like this to each other. So she'll be far away and I'll be like, and then she'll we acknowledge each other that we see each other, so it's beautiful. I think as for being a mom and being able to work overnight, tired, exhausted, but it's the benefit, it, far outweighs the.
Yes.
So they love it. They just wish my hours were a little bit different, but at the end of the day, that's what's needed. Like we said, God aligns everything up for a reason, and me working overnight is the best thing for our family at the moment.
So I guess that kind of answers also number 9. That question was, does your position impact your family in any way? So you already talked about the family members that call you. Yeah. And I can only imagine, like, they leave the doctor and call you. So,
yes. Or they won't, they'll start talking to me about what the doctor was saying. And I'm like, no, you did not understand that correctly. Because sometimes family members, they swear they know what the doctor said. And I'm like, that is completely opposite to what the doctor was saying. So it's like they can ask me questions, and then sometimes when they think they know something, I'll be like, mm-mm. So it's just like, it's truly a blessing to be in the healthcare.
Yes.
Especially around this time.
Yes. I was going to say that, like, that is probably also another impact, that you're able to bring an ease of mind with everything that's going on. I'm pretty sure when everything happened that your phone was ringing off because once you have a little bit of knowledge, even if you don't know, your family expects you
act like you know.
to know. Like, even if you have to do some extra research, you better know when they call.
I'm like, wait, hold on. Let me look that up real quick because I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
Yes.
Especially because when you're a nurse and you like right now I'm with the peds and I do respiratory, you know. So if you talk to me about the heart, I'm like, wait, I don't remember that right now. You know, like it's because we stay focused on one area, one specialty. So when you start talking about everything else, I'm like, hold on, let me look that up. I'll research it and I'll get back to you.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. So question number 10. What difference have you noticed in your field from last year to this year?
I must say, because of especially since COVID is going on, a lot more precautions in regard to like family and guests coming over. Because since I'm in the home, you don't see as many people coming over. Of course, wearing masks. Because we always use gloves, you know, like that's something like, of course, if I'm working hands-on with the patient, you use gloves all the time. But the using the mask now, that's different.
So you wear your mask your whole visit?
Shift. Yes, I do. Because at first, because of COVID, I was like, whatever, you know, like it still wasn't like too much known. I would like not wear the mask in the house, you know. But then once I started learning more about it, and the fact of people coming over, because of course initially people were still having guests over, they're, you know, still doing all that. Then I was like, okay, no, like I need to put my mask on, make sure even though we're in a house, we can still be social distance, you know. So I'll be next to my patient, and then the patient's sister would be on the other side of the couch or the other side of the room, you know. So, you know, just practicing social distancing and wearing masks even within a house environment. So so that's the major shift.
Has your caseload changed at all?
Well, no, because I'm in home care, I'm already assigned my patients. Okay. You know, so thank God, like nobody has passed away or anything like that I would have to change a patient or anything like that. It's been consistent this year, compared to my nurse friends that are in the hospital. Their caseload has increased a lot. And they have to wear a lot more. They wear masks plus the shield plus gloves and gowns. You know, because they're in a hospital atmosphere and they deal with a lot more people. You know, they're a lot more equipped with personal protective gear. You know, compared to me, since I'm in the home, it's usually just the same 3, 4, or 5 people that I'm coming in contact with. I just use the gloves and the mask for right now. So yeah, so that's why, since home care is more controlled, so we have it's not that much of a difference between home care, but hospitals, nursing homes, they're a very big difference right now.
Okay. And to like tag on to that question, like the company that you work for, did they give the families that you do work for, like, were there like new guidelines that they had to abide by in order to like maintain the services?
Yeah. No, they just sent out notices in regards to social distancing, the mask. Okay. You know, ensuring that the parents themselves, when they go out, that they're masked up, and hand sanitizer. Yeah. Like now there's like hand sanitizer in every single room, like multiple bottles, like all over the place. You'll see hand sanitizer. Compared to before, it would just be in one spot. We'll just go there, you know, but now it's just all over the place. So just making sure that the home is kept as safe and as clean as possible. So no outside guests, no visitors from out of state, you know, things like that, just to try to maintain the house as sterile and clean as possible, you know. And also cleanliness is very important, because there are some homes you go to and it's a mess all over the place, you know, or certain smells, and, you know, because the parents might be overwhelmed with everything else that's going on. But thank God the cases that I have, they're very clean houses. And that's good. Like the other night, I called my husband. I was like, my patient's mom, I think she poured a whole bottle of bleach in the room, because was like, I'm in the living room, but I can smell from the bathroom in the kitchen.
That's how you know somebody is cleaning. Do you hear me? When you are in another space and you
I was like, I feel like she opened the bottle of bleach right in front of me. Like, so just cleanliness is very important. But I thank God that the patients I have, their families are very clean.
Yeah, mom said, listen, I am doing it today. Today is the day that bleach is going. It's that's how you know someone is cleaning. Between that and what's the other one? Fabuloso. When you smell those two things.
That's her house. Her house is bleach, Fabuloso, or the game. Like the game smells. It's just all over the place. I'm like, okay, girl, that's fine.
And at that point, you thank God for the mask, like block some of it, and you can still smell it through the mask, but it's not as bad. Oh my gosh, that is funny. So I know you said you don't work in the hospitals, but question number 11 is: have you ever treated, during this year, have you treated patients with that had COVID?
Yes, actually, this summer that just passed, because the numbers were so high. And, because I'm that nurse, that believer that felt like I needed to assist in this with this madness in some form or fashion, I started working. They made like makeshift hospitals. Okay. So in certain areas. So I worked in one in Secaucus. So they changed I think it's the Meadowlands Expo.
Okay.
They converted it into a hospital. For that time, yeah. So I went there. So the nights that I was off from my home care job, I would work over there. And so this was, so what they did is, in order to relieve the hospitals from so many COVID patients, when the patient was well enough to not be in the hospital, but still too sick to go home, they would send them to the expo center. Okay. So, it was a whole bunch of like tents and like made up rooms with cots, a little drawer, and then their oxygen, any food, it was brought in. So it was just hundreds of rooms inside, like makeshift rooms inside of like a stadium looking place. It was crazy. Like I never thought, like I would see something like that. But there is when I was completely gowned up. We had shoe coverings on, completely gowned up from head to toe, had the two masks plus the shield. So I worked there for a month and a half with those patients. Very different experience. Because
they don't have no pictures, do they? I need to see that. If y'all know, I be inserting pictures, boy.
I actually had taken one time because I was talking with a family member. So they had asked, they were like, can I see you real quick? So I like snapped the picture, but I don't remember where I was trying to look for it for here. Oh, but okay. I changed phones. So I don't think I saved that picture. The image. I was just, yeah. But yeah, I was completely gowned up. With those patients, it was different because I was dealing with multiple patients at one time. This is the first time that I dealt with so many people within one, between my 8 hours that I was there. So it was different, but at the same time, like I said, I was just ministering to the ones I could minister to, praying, just talking about God's goodness, despite of, everything that was going on. And a lot of them were just, they were sick, but not sick to like the extreme of them being in the hospital. Right. So a lot of them had respiratory issues. A lot of them couldn't take full deep breaths. They lost. So
by the way, you're going into question number 12. No, that's perfect, because question number 12 is what are some symptoms that you've seen in those patients? Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So go ahead, keep going. See?
Sorry, just like my husband.
Yes. This is perfect. You guys make my job easy.
So they a lot of them lost a lot of weight because they're having such a hard time breathing. Even the thought of just eating, that's exhausting. So a lot of weight loss, a lot of breathing difficulty. Because what a lot of people don't know is once COVID enters your lungs, like it's hard. Your lungs take a long time to heal.
Mhm.
So even though some of them didn't have COVID anymore, but just the rehabilitation stage of trying to get back to normal was really, really rough for people. So a lot of them were on oxygen, and just super weak. You can just see like they just wanted to relax. Like even taking a blood pressure, like to raise their arm for a blood pressure was like, oh God.
Right.
So yeah, so just a lot of weakness, respiratory issues, stomach issues, because then once they do start eating again, their stomach has been like empty or really not working for a couple of weeks. So then when they do start eating, then they'll have diarrhea. So, so just, cleaning them up if they needed to be cleaned. And that's it, just giving them medications that would help with the breathing, or like because then a lot of them already had health issues. So like if they were diabetic, of course I have to give them their insulin, things of that, like that, or blood pressure medication. So tending to their regular needs plus the added stress from COVID.
Right.
So, but it was a good experience. I enjoyed it.
I don't know. Let me tell you, like literally, like and this is like another segue into my next question, but listen, I was like, Lord, I was praying and fasting for the medical because I'm like, listen, if it's tough for me as an educator, on the other end of actually seeing physically, like I remember just like there was like an influx of videos on social media at one point where there were like nurses and doctors and people that just work in the medical field that were pleading with people like, please take this serious. Like,
yes,
please, please, please. Seeing where in Newark, where they had to, what do you call those things? It was like they had to rent these storage things to keep bodies in because of so many people dying. And then seeing in New York of bodies that weren't being claimed and them just OMG. But a lot of like what you just said, like at the end of that, a lot of people were saying like most of the people that contracted COVID and then, ended up passing, they had like pre-existing issues that like geared on, like, and it was like just too much for the body to handle. And I was like, oh, that is.
Yeah. And another tough thing to deal with as a nurse was the fact that, they couldn't have visitors. So, talking to family members, doing FaceTime with the family members so they can talk with them, just providing some type of normalcy for them, like that's why I would go in there and just talk to them, because that's what some people just needed. They just needed somebody to, I'll check up on them frequently and be like, do you need anything? They'll be like, no. So then I'll just start conversation, like,
right.
Just random stuff like about their family or good memories or just something, or a prayer and just speak about God for a few minutes. And that's what a lot of them lacked, companionship, and because a lot of the nurses were so busy, they couldn't stay there and talk, but thank God, me working overnight, you're not as hectic and crazy, compared to during the day. So I was able to communicate a little bit more with them and be a little bit more hands-on and just hear them, if they needed somebody to talk to or call their family members and do like the FaceTime thing, with the tablets and stuff. So that's what a lot of them, they're still physically weak, but they needed that companionship, and not having family around was hard for a lot of them.
Yeah. That just hospital experience is not really that fun. I don't think anyone just be like, I want to go to the hospital. Like, so to need to go there and then to not have that like comfort of knowing that someone is coming, that idea of just like no one being there.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. That's why I was like, my hat goes off to anybody that had a baby during this time. Yes. I know they started making more like leeway for like fathers to even be there, but like a new baby, like that's a big thing. Families come, They bring in stuff. You're getting teddy bears. You get a family member to sneak you in that food that you're not supposed to eat.
Exactly.
Like, all of those things, like all of that was
gone.
And like for me, I really was like, wow, God, you have a way of really getting our attention, right?
Definitely.
The busyness of the world and everything that was happening, God was like, all right, sit down. I need
to relax.
Like, talk to me now. Like now you don't have the movie theaters. Now you don't have the clubs, and you don't have like, you know, all right, now what you want to say? I got some stuff to tell you. Like you first. And I was just like, wow, like, yeah. So question number 12. Oh, no. Question number 13. Sorry. They be getting on me, Erika. They be like, you said the wrong number. Question number 13. How has it been? Now, I'm not saying that the term essential worker wasn't a thing, but that is almost like the billboard of 2020. So how has it been being a essential worker during this time? Like, has there been perks? Did you notice that more people have been nicer to you? Or do people frown upon you? Or do you get to the front of the line at Dunkin' Donuts now? Like,
I must say, I think I took advantage of like 2 or 3 like sales, like they would give you like a special little. Because I get like I get emails from the state, because since I'm as an LPN, you're a state registered employee. So I would get emails from them saying, oh, you can get a free donut at Dunkin' Donuts, or, like they'll send little things here and there. So I did take advantage of, I think, like 2 or 3 things. So that was nice. My job, they didn't do, like some jobs, they increased your pay during that time. My job, at least the month of October, they said they were increasing your pay for $2 for the month of October. So then at the end of the month, I got an extra like little bonus check for the hours. I mean, it's better than nothing, but so at least they did that. But other than that, yes, it's nice to see that nurses are getting more recognition, because a lot of the times, like we said before, doctors, but now people are saying like, wow, nurses are truly vital. They're important, to this, with this COVID thing, nurses having that more hands-on and that more love and affection for patients, dealing, doing the FaceTimes with the family members, calling the family members regularly to let them know what was happening, so I feel like the love and appreciation for nurses has definitely increased during this time. In regards to home care, since I said we're pretty much stable, we pretty much have the same, either patients or routine in regards to doing things. That's why I pretty much the same, but I can definitely tell when it comes to the nurses in the hospitals and the nursing homes. And when I worked in that makeshift hospital in the Meadowlands Expo, there was nurses coming from all over. We had nurses from Texas. We had nurses from California that just came and traveled and came to the Expo Center because it was needed. Nurses were needed. Wow. There was nurses from the Army, or from the military would come in. So they were from all over the place too.
Wow.
It was just
that
amazing
unity.
To see.
Wow.
Yes, it's really beautiful to see. I met some people that, if because of COVID, I would have never met them, if it hadn't been for COVID. And, I'm essential worker with, as in regards to nursing, but also with ministry, ministering to my husband and I. We had a prayer call every single day, during the heavy months of COVID. We were praying every single day. We were fasting. We were calling people, reaching out, doing homeless outreach when it comes to I have an organization called Tenderlovingtotes.
We know about that, guys. We learned about it.
So, just going out to different shelters, because a lot of shelters they couldn't get the influx of help that they normally would get, because now the help is being spread out all over the place, so shelters were low on food, so we would go take them food. Now a lot of shelters, that would normally get clothing donations, from people. A lot of, you can't donate clothing. Everything has to be new now.
Yeah.
So you can't just go clean out your closet and take it to a shelter. They're not accepting that anymore. So a lot of shelters were low on clothing or underwear. So, my husband and I got together and we did things like that. So, being an essential worker as regards to nursing, one thing, and then dealing with ministry and trying to help people's needs spiritually as well as essentially with clothing, food, and things of that nature. So it was all around was trying to, just be a servant,
Yeah.
in whichever capacity was needed, whether it be nursing wise or when it comes to ministry.
So we're also going to, because Tender Loving Totes does have a Cashapp, correct?
Yes, we do. We have
So
a
we are
Cashapp
going
and a Facebook page.
Okay, so we're gonna put that information in here just in case,
Thank you.
for you to connect and for you to donate, because you hear of all of the amazing things that they are doing. And that's definitely, something that we want to support. We want to support that. So yes, question
14.
14. Are we really?
Yes.
Oh, I think I messed up. I always mess up. I think that was supposed to be 12. Okay, whatever. I'll count them.
I think we blended 11 and 12.
Okay.
And then I think you did number 13.
All right. So whatever number this question is, it is how has, you know what? Because I didn't read the whole question. There we go. Gotcha. So this is the tag to this 13 part B.
All right.
How has being an essential worker impact your mental, you personally?
Oh, yes. I must say, like I said, God aligns things, everything up in just a wonderful flow, right? Mm-hmm. So I was 2 years ago, this time last year, I was in a low. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And if I didn't seek the therapy and the help that I needed before COVID started, I think I probably wouldn't have been able to handle all the craziness. Like I probably wouldn't have helped in the Meadowlands, because, or I probably wouldn't been able to help pray for individuals every single day. But because mentally, I had the coping mechanisms that I needed. I was just in a different state, in a different level, in regards to my mental state. So I was able to be like, okay, this is going on, but we still got to do this. We just gotta press. We gotta help those individuals that need help and just keep it moving. So I honestly think my mental state has gotten better because since every single day we were reading scripture, praying, and it's all God, God being able to stand firm in faith during these times has truly, it's been life-changing, for the better. So I praise God for that. I praise God for my husband that had the mind frame, the mindset to say, okay, we're going to pray every single day. Yes. We're going to do this. Doesn't matter. We're going to be there on the line. We're going to read scripture every day. We are going to stay focused on God and not allow the world to consume us with the issues and the problems and everything else that's going on. So I praise God for that. I praise God for that relationship, for that understanding of his word, just teaching his word more. I love your Acts study that you did. That's what that definitely helped with, like, being a how do you say that word?
Catapulting.
Yeah. Yeah,
the thing that throws something.
It just threw me into the word. So I praise God for your ministry and your insight and wanting to do things of that nature, because it truly was helped me dig into the word more.
And Acts is great, guys. Listen,
I love it. Acts is amazing. When you were doing that, I just, it is so powerful.
It is like all of the real TV we be watching, thinking that it's real and it's really scripted. I was reading Acts and I was looking at Bilal like, what? They did what?
Amazing. It's just like
the word is so, it is so alive. And that I think because I consistency in the word is something that I am not, I'm not boasting in that, people. I'm saying that it is a thing that I am yet praying and working on. But I noticed for me to give myself like a thing to do, studying certain scriptures, studying a topic, doing whatever, or being like, I have the worship Wednesdays now. So like that causes me to be consistently in my word.
Yeah.
But that, like Acts, reading the book of Acts, I totally agree with you. Like it set me up for this time. Yeah. I felt like I was more prepared for this pandemic and quarantine and shutdown because I had a deeper appreciation of what church was before we got into the four walls, before we got into praise and worship, before, like when it was just a gathering of small people and they were praying and they were literally believing God and unctioning the Holy Spirit. Amen. Like the first moment, I'm like, come on, people, amazing. we gotta get it. And the Holy Spirit wasn't playing with these people. People was lying and dropping dead. I'm like, oh man. I was reading that like, tell the truth. For real. So I thank you. I thank you for that. That was, Acts was, it's time to do another one. I've been telling my husband for a while now. So me saying it on this video now is gonna make me have to hold true to it. And maybe we could do it. Yes, I want to do a study on Revelation. I feel like we need to know it. Yes. Every single day something happens. I make a joke and I'm like, what trumpet has been blown now? Because something has been released. We don't know. And I feel like, even the Bible says, the people perish for a lack of knowledge. Yes. We don't, we got to dig into it. So I just said it here. So I'm going to have to do it. But Revelation is a heavy book. I remember I did that with the youth ministry. I was a leader in, and we titled the study "No Child Left Behind." Oh wow! And it was like the kids were so. I didn't think, even like some of the leaders of the house didn't think that they were going to be like invested. They were invested. They were like. Beautiful. They was like reaching out to me like, I know we was only supposed to be this chapter, but I went ahead, so I need to know. And I'm like, I'm not there yet. I didn't get there yet. And it caused me to like need to go deeper in my study. That's good. Yeah. So, okay. Now really question number 14. Okay. What are some health tips you can give us during this
time? Definitely wash your hands. Take your multivitamins. That's important.
I don't even. I take plenty. Nutriburs. It is a liquid multivitamin. I actually have a young lady that sells these. I'm doing a 15 question with her. So we'll find out more about.
But I had seen that. That's like one of the next ones, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
So this is a liquid multivitamin because I need vitamins.
Yeah. Stay hydrated. So very important to drink your fluids, drink your water. Yes.
All my shameless plugs in here.
Staying active, at least 30 minutes a day, whether it be a walk or dance in your living room, just do something, because usually when we're active, especially when it comes to COVID, because it's a respiratory thing, the more you move, the more your lungs work, and it can burst out more, like like if you have any bacteria or anything, it's more to come out. Like you can cough things out better. You can, like it's very important to stay active. Definitely, mask up when you're outside. Keep your distance from people. Don't go to a party that has 100 people in it, truly just try to follow what the CDC is saying. Because if like the word says, that people would humble themselves, okay. Just follow the rules and regulations. Like this could have been done a long time ago.
Obey the laws of the land, people. Yeah, that is scripture.
Like that's it. Just obey. And then I felt like this could have been eradicated months ago, like of course with little trickles here and there, but it wouldn't have, like, now we're at the second wave again. You know, it's just because people are just disobedient. You're not following what they're saying to do. You know, so just, you know, just stay hydrated, follow what they're saying, keep your distance from people, mask up, frequently wash your hands. You know, don't go somewhere, go to the grocery store and then, you know, wipe your nose with your hand. Like,
Yeah.
you know, just be cautious and, you know, carry around hand sanitizer with you, carry around those little dollar store antibacterial wipes, just wipe things down. You know, it's just truly being cautious, not only for yourself, but for individuals around you. You know, and I think that's what a lot of people are just so selfish nowadays. They're thinking about what I want to do, where I want to go. But if you get sick, you're going to infect other people, you know, so we got to stop thinking about just us. Truly worry, love, care about those around you, you know. So if you're masking up, if you're you know, hand washing and stuff, you're not only doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for those who you might have in contact with, you know, whether it be family members, friends, somebody that you're next to at ShopRite or whatever, you know, like you have to not care just about yourself, truly think about humankind in general.
Well, yeah, so y'all heard her. Listen, take all the things. So question number 15. What would you say to someone who wants to become an LPN?
I would say make sure you study the schools that you want to go to. You know, make sure that they're accredited by the state, because there are some like little schools here and there that say, oh, you could become an LPN, but then they're not accredited by the state, so then you can't take the state license. You know, so make sure you research that your school is state accredited. Focus on your studies. You know, it's a year of your life, you know. Try to do what you can best to just stay focused on studying. And if you're like me that had to work at the same time, you know, just try to find that balance, you know, because it is hard. We're in a situation that a lot of people do have to work while going to school. So just really try to balance your life in a way that you're studying, but then at the same time can have some fun. And, you know, because that's life in general. You need to have a good balance of everything. Truly try to not only study what's right in front of you, but like go like a chapter before or a chapter after, you know, just to like try to get a full grasp of the body systems, of the diseases, of the medications, you know, not just, you can't just study from one book. Like I had the book that the school gave me, and then I went to Barnes and Nobles and I would study because they have like questions that you can study before you actually take the state exam. So like if I was doing the integumentary system, you know, like the skin, if I was studying the skin, I would study from the book that they gave me, plus I would go to the books that I got from Barnes and Nobles and study the questions that they had, because the questions that they have are very similar to the questions that they're going to ask you in the regular school tests. So like having that format of not only looking at the books that the school gave you, but also try to research from other books, other places, go online, you know, look up different diseases, so you can learn you can learn the different diseases that come with that system that you're learning about. YouTube videos like of how people are feeling when they have the disease, you know, just thinking, not only staying with what the school is trying to teach you, but looking at outside sources, so you're well-rounded in the knowledge. You're not just, you know, like you're not just book smart, but you truly are able to apply, because that's the thing about nursing. You know, you can know the book inside out, but can you apply it? Can you, when you see a patient, are you able to distinguish the different, one patient might have the chest pain and the arm pain, you know, when it comes to a heart attack, and some might just have back pain and their lips might be turning, you know, like, it's very different for each individual, you know. So, you know, or their lips might be getting a little bit blue because their heart isn't pumping, you know, the way it's supposed to, you know. So it's just, there's just little signs and little things that when you start researching and learning different symptoms and different things, that you really are able to apply it in your life. And then just don't be so stuck on, like I said, oh, I'm not doing pediatrics. You know, like
Be open.
Yes, if an opportunity avails itself, take it, do it, see if you like it. And that's the beauty of nursing. There's so many different avenues and so many different I was gonna say specialties,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So if you don't like respiratory, go to children, or go to, you know, go to a foot doctor, you know, and see if you can go work in that office. You know, like there's so many different avenues in which you can do things. And if you feel like you want to go get more schooling, do it. You know, just you know, right now it's not feasible for me. You know, I would love to become an RN, and then you know, have a master's and be possibly a nurse practitioner, you know, God willing, you know, we'll see,
Right.
We'll see where it goes. But if I just stay at LPN with everything else I have going on, you know, ministry, the nonprofit,
Yes.
everything is just, you know, it's a lot. But if you want to continue schooling, do it, you know, and at least try. A friend had posted recently, she was like, what would you attempt to do if you know for sure you wouldn't fail? You know, she had put that question up, and my reply was, do it anyway. Even if you're going to fail try
forward.
it anyway.
I tell my students that all the time, fail forward.
I said try it anyway, because even if you don't accomplish the goal that you wanted to, there's going to be lessons that you're going to learn within that failing period.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to help you along the way, and it's going to serve a great purpose. So try it anyway. You know, so if you want to become an LPN, that's something you want to do, go try it out. And if you fail at it, keep going if it's truly what you want to do. And if it's not, probably you'll learn about something along the way, you know. A respiratory therapist, you know, like that's something I would have never thought of before if I wasn't an LPN, or if I didn't go to LPN school. But now if I wanted to take another avenue, that's probably something I would do, become a respiratory therapist. You know, like that, you just learn different things.
Yeah.
You know? So just do it. Try it anyway.
Yes. So that was question number 15. But I cannot let you go. Okay. Because there was a story that was told by your husband about your love story. So we always know that there is a side and then there's the truth. So we got to make sure that the stories align. And by the way, shameless plug, she has Full Armor, the brand on. Investment hoodie that we were talking about with Pastor Erika Carr. That is his hoodie. And if you want that information, go back to the other video. See, we're not taking her shine away. This is her video. We talking about tender loving totes and LPN stuff in here.
Yes.
But bonus question.
Yes.
Your side of the whole meeting and all of that stuff.
So as I said, I was an EMT. I worked in the city of Passaic at that time. That was my full-time job. Bloomfield EMS was my part-time. So Passaic EMS, I would take patients to the hospital, and I would see this chunky, short security guard. And I thought he was cute, you know, but I wasn't really like paying attention to him because I was in a relationship at that time.
Okay.
And to tell you the truth, one of the things that people love about me in my Christian walk is that I'm very real and straightforward. I was in a lesbian relationship.
Okay.
So that's why when he first met me, he was just like, what? She's in a what? Like, so so he had said that I was his boo, right? To a coworker that was there. And she was like, she's in a lesbian relationship. She has a girlfriend. So he was like, nah. Like, he was like, no. So I think that's why he probably kept his distance from me initially, you know, like I would just see him. But from what I learned, like after when we became friends, every single time I would come to the hospital, one of the security guards would tell him that I was arriving, and then he would switch places with them so he can see me and we can have some type of interaction, right?
Really?
But the thing is, my partner my EMT partner was my partner, was my girlfriend.
Really?
So, yes. So I always thought he liked her, because when he would talk to us, I always felt like he was like flirting with her, like, you know, and it's just it was just him being nice. But to me, I just thought like, oh, he likes her, like he thinks she's cute or something. So I didn't pay no mind to it, because she was strictly lesbian, so she wasn't gonna like go to him. Me, I was always bi at that point in time, you know. So I was just like, oh, whatever. So then I when I heard the video of you guys, he had said the whole the old man almost crashing into the hospital. So he got both my girlfriend and my number that day, because when he initially gave his number to her, and I was like, excuse me, if you have her number, you have to have my number. Like, this is not just, you two just can't change numbers. So he got my number too that time. So then he would occasionally like text my girlfriend. He would occasionally text me, you know, like just say, hi, how you doing? Because he was a nice guy, you know. Well, that's what I thought. But he had a whole process in his brain. Like, he planned it out. He was just like trying to build up a nice relationship between, you know, like between them. And what he said was, you have to get nice with the pit bull before you can enter the house. That's what he told me. So, he was trying to be nice with my girlfriend so he could build a relationship with both of us. So then eventually he can get to me, right? So my girlfriend and I always had like a knowledge of God, and I wanted to get to know more of God. But my family growing up was Catholic, and I just couldn't, like, what I would read from time to time didn't align to me with the Catholic faith. Right. So that's why I distanced myself, you know. So I was just like, I just don't understand it, you know. And a lot of questions that I would, because I signed myself up to get baptized and First Communion and all of that, like that the Catholic Church does, when I was 15, because I was like, I really want to know more about the church. I want to grow more with God. But then when I would ask questions, like I felt like it was like they would skirt around my question. They wouldn't fully answer, you know, about like the statues and, you know, just stuff like that they had in the churches. And why do I have to go to a priest to, you know, like to confess, you know, like stuff like I would just ask, and they just weren't answering the way I just knew in my heart that there was something else. Like, and I didn't even really think of just a regular Christian church because my family didn't go to one, you know, or non-denominational church. Like I didn't really even know they existed, you know, I just knew Catholics. So when Aaron and I broke up with my girlfriend, because I was like, look, if I truly want to start learning more about God and doing things, it just was like, I just can't do it. You know, it's like, I can't live this lifestyle and want to truly change my life for God. So I broke things off with her, and just started praying and talking to God, hearing more gospel music. And when he would like just text me, because I guess his segue in was like, oh, I heard you and Angie broke up. Are you okay? Is there anything going on? Like, you know, like he was just being nice, you know? So
yeah, he had a plan.
So how you doing? You know, whatever. And then, you know, eventually I would like go see him. As a friend, I would just go to like spend some time with him while he was working. Like while he was working, I would go, and then all of a sudden it was just like questions about the Bible and questions about who God is. And oh, okay, you have church? And he was like, you want to come to my church? You know, like, you know, and I was like, oh yeah, you know. So it was just like it just slowly started. And then he ended his relationship because he was in a 3-year relationship, and they were like bad, like for like the last year, they were like trying to make it work and they just couldn't. Because at the first since I was his friend, I told him, I was like, I at that point I knew he liked me, and I was like, no, like make it work out with her. Like this, you love her, you know? I was like, just because I'm I'm just like somebody that just showed up and popped up. Like you don't, you know, like deal with her, try to get, because at one point I even thought like he was going to propose to her or something. Because like we really were just friends, like just hanging out, getting to know the word a little bit more. And then when they broke it off, I was just like, like I was like
because you started plotting.
Yeah, like I knew I liked him, but because of the situation, I would go on dates. Like I was, like we were cool, and I would tell him like, oh, I have a date tomorrow, and I have this, and I'll do that, and I was like really talking to him as a friend, and him in his mind, like he would get upset, but I'm like, how are you getting up? You have a girlfriend, like, what do you? But because he had already in his mind, in his plans, what was to come. I didn't see it that way. I just thought we were cool.
Right.
So, but eventually, once they broke up, I think they had broke up in April of 2011. Me and him got serious July of 2011, and it wasn't even serious because we weren't even boyfriend and girlfriend. We truly, this is the first relationship that I can say that we truly just got to know each other. We didn't become official boyfriend and girlfriend until March 2012. Like, no, I'm sorry. April 2010 is when they broke up. July 2010. We started dating March 2011. So that's a long period of time to just be talking and dating. Like especially
recording.
Yes,
do y'all hear that? Hey, people so just be wanting to jump up and stuff.
So yeah, we truly just really got to know each other. Like I would spend a little bit of time with his family, get to know the church. Really was growing in the word in that time. Then I got baptized January 2011, and we became boyfriend and girlfriend March 2011. So, it truly just was so different from any other type of relationship that I had, like any type of friendship with a male that I had, because truly before that, it was just like, to be quite honest, it was just like full of lust and just sex and just, okay, let's get it in. I don't care. You're not really my friend. Like, I'm just going to, yeah. Especially during college time that you're just like, whatever, you're just living this carefree life. I was just a mess, but really he's the first person that I got to know, the first male specifically that I got to know for who he was, and he got to know me. And we truly just talked about everything. Like in that courting stage, we talked about everything and just different circumstances if they were to come up, him with his ministry. Because at that point in time, he was a minister in the church, but he wasn't a pastor yet. But, him going to conferences, like, that's one of his things, that he wanted someone, a companion, like if he went to a conference or something, he didn't want to be the only alone pastor there. Everybody else is married, with kids and a family. He's just there by himself, like he was like, would you be able to travel with me? Like things like that. So, we really talked about so much. So this is like the first like real friendship that turned into love, and then now marriage, kids.
So, and two beautiful girls. I'm gonna insert that picture again because it's just too adorable. Yes.
Yeah. So it's just truly so different. This godly relationship compared to all my earthly, lustful craziness relationships before. And for me to have that drastic change of being in a relationship with a woman to then being with him. And that was my first ever relationship with a female. It's just, I guess I got tired of just dealing with the craziness of men, even though I never thought, I always just thought like sexually, I would just be with women here and there. I never really thought I would be in a relationship with one, So when I finally was, I was just like, oh my God, like this is not me, like for the rest of my life, and then God just started working with me. And really it's just like, everything just like completely like 180, it's not 360 because I didn't go back to her. Right. It was just complete 180 that I just, and I think that's why initially when I started joining church and stuff like that, a lot of my friends and family didn't take me seriously. They just were like, whatever, like she's just, is this a phase 2?
Right. And that's so sad because like when people know you, when God does the shifting, right? And this is why I'm so glad this video could go on. First off, I didn't know this part of I didn't know your testimony, period, right? So I have so many questions. this is about to turn into Ask 20 question. No, I'm just playing. But I love that God knows us, right? And even down to our family, what they think they know, God is like, you have no idea. Like this person that you see is the falsified flesh.
Yes.
The spirit man that I'm working on, like the fact that you even said like you were in it, you got into it, but you were uncomfortable. Like you knew it was wrong, but you were still like, and we always just all like we know. Like I tell people all the time, like you know that God don't desire it. Like outside of just even biblical principles, like God just gives you that tugging of like, this ain't right. But we will still stay in that. That is, see, listen, I told y'all this is why we had to get this story. This is why.
This is like you start catering to your fleshly desires, and you think that that's truly going to bring you happiness and joy. But then when you start, leaving from that lifestyle, and you start catering to what God has for you, it's a whole different understanding of what love is. It's a whole different understanding of peace, of joy. And I would have never known that if I would have stayed in that lifestyle because of the temporary greatness that I felt, the temporary, like, ooh, this
satisfaction.
But once I started changing my life and I really dug deep into who God is and what he already has done for me, and what I know he can and will do for me is just completely different. And I praise God for, and even that part of my life, like I would never leave that out of my testimony. I would never, because I've had people in the past, oh, you shouldn't say that. It's like, no, that's needed because there's people in this world that need that testimony, because some of them feel so much shame and guilt from living in that lifestyle that they won't change their ways because they feel like, well, once I was in it, that's it. That's just who I am. Like, no, you are a child of God. And if it's tugging in your heart and your mind to shift from that lifestyle, do it. You can do it. I lost so many friends. It's just, they were temporary. They were there for a season, but what God has for you is eternal. And the relationships, the drive, the will that I'm doing now to serve him, that's what's everlasting. So that is what is truly meaningful. And I praise God.
Like Galatians. Yes, God, just what you said though, I promise we about to end this video. But in Galatians it talks about, and I was reading this because this was a discussion that I was having with several people that I just feel like, and I think I might have even said, I don't think I said it on the video, but with your husband, but I believe that as a body, we haven't taught flesh and spirit enough. Like if any scripture I would tell pastors, like especially with dealing with the generations that we're dealing with, it would have to be Galatians 5, right? Because it goes into this concept of showing us, like reading, but being able to visualize that the flesh want everything opposite of what God wants, and the spirit yearns for the things of God. When we entertain the flesh becomes strong in a sense that those desires are overwhelming and we feel like we can't drive away from that, right? And then, but when you feed the spirit, you are killing the flesh, you're denying the flesh. This is why like fasting is so important, because that is a natural outward expression of what we are supposed to be doing spiritually to our flesh, denying the flesh of the things that we want. It's not that we don't like them. It's not that, like that is a real feeling. Your flesh really feels that. And it really does want that because God doesn't want that. And so many people fall away from it and don't want to come to God because it's like, I can't shake these feelings. I can't shake these thoughts. And we have to teach them, you have to now begin to feed your spirit man and strengthen your spirit man so that even when those thoughts and things come up, you know that it's not of God, that you can denounce it, that you can rebuke it and still go on to do, like we ain't teach nobody that. We like, all right, get free. Yeah, and you do. Like, I'm not saying that. My mom and I was going back and forth in the car yesterday. I'm like, Mom, you missing what I'm saying. I'm not saying that deliverance isn't a thing, but what I'm saying is we are not equipping people for this war, this battle.
Yes.
If someone feels like, if I'm still thinking about this thing, then God is not hearing me.
Yeah.
What do we really say to them? You get what I'm saying? Like, how do we really groom them and show them that, yeah, you can still have these same sex desires? It's probably because you are continuously feeding that.
Yep.
You are looking at things, you are entertaining conversations, you are doing this thing. Now you have to revert to do something else. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that God can't, deliver people, because my mom, like, when God delivered me, from cigarettes, I stopped, and I'm like, I get that.
But the way he works and heals some people is not the way he works and heals other people. Right. So that's what we need to acknowledge and realize. And like I tell many people frequently, is it's your choice. You can choose to serve God, or you can choose to serve that feeling or that fear or that addiction. You're choosing that over this. Yes. Like that. It's that simple at the end of the day. You're going to choose to watch the porn, or you're going to choose to watch a regular movie,
or a sermon, right? Like something. Yeah.
You're going to choose to listen to gospel, or you're going to choose to listen to that freaky deaky.
Okay.
There.
Okay. The ratchet music.
So it's truly a choice. We are free will. So, what are you choosing? Are you choosing something that's going to feed you and speak life into you? Or are you choosing something that's going to degrade you and bring you down to a low point again?
Yeah.
So it's truly a choice. And we have to realize that. And the choices that we make in life are not easy. When you go on a diet, like, okay, are you going to choose the cheeseburger, or are you going to choose a salad? Like,
and
of course,
I choose the cheeseburger with lettuce on it. I do. And I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not proud of it. And I don't eat meat, and I still feel guilty. It is. And we don't say, for people that's watching this, we're not saying that it's simple, meaning that it is easy. No. But like the logistics of it.
Yes, the logistics.
The meme that's like blue pill, red pill. Like, it's like, if God was to force himself upon us, then we wouldn't have no choice. But just like a relationship, he wants to be a conscious decision. He wants to be a conscious decision. And I'm pretty sure, like, you can even attest, if you would have not shifted your mind, who's to say where you would be now? Like, who's to say if you would be, married to Pastor Aaron, and you guys have these two beautiful children, right? It was a choice that you made. Like, all right, God, I know this isn't right. Okay, I'm going to get out of this. And even with you getting out of it, had you continued to still feed the lust, because that's what it is. Like, for all of us, if we're real, definitely. We all deal with the lust. Yes, and just like, drugs, I was telling someone the other day, like, you start off with weed, but then the marijuana no longer satisfies that desire. Then you go to something stronger and you grow. And right now you're laughing at the person that's on the street corner, and you calling them all types of names and saying that they do crack and all this other stuff. You've already introduced yourself to this one drug. You're not that far from venturing to that, because it grows, right? It grows. And just that's the thing.
Just the same way with our lust. That's why it's like, you start off having sex when you're young, because that's what a lot of kids are doing. And then they want to experiment a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. So then by the time you're in your 20s, you've done everything in the book.
You're worn out.
Yeah. So it's just, it's a lot, but it's true. It's our lust just continues to grow and grow and grow. Because we're, at the end of the day, you're never satisfied. Your earthly flesh is never satisfied.
Never.
Versus when our soul, when we truly connect ourselves with God, you start humbling yourself, and you start just having an appreciation for just the little things.
Yes.
And you start loving more, and you start having this understanding and this wisdom that's just like, oh, wow, God, like, I would have never had this if I was still in my flesh. Because all I would desire is more of this, more of that, more of this. And when you're a Christian, that's not really a Christian, that you're just calling yourself one. That's the ones that are just desire
You
more
are a
money,
seat filler.
more blessings, more this. Like, no, like just appreciate and love what God has given you already. You know, how about more revelation, more of the Holy Spirit?
Yes,
You know,
more wisdom.
that.
Yes, he's not a genie, people. This is not Aladdin. He is not a genie, right? Like, and that those are my things. Listen, Erika, you literally, I'm so excited. You just like confirmed. So I told you I was having this debate with my mom yesterday, and I'm like, you're not getting what I'm saying, but that is it. It is a conscious decision, right? And if you decide to feed this thing, it will grow. It will grow, right? Whatever it is, if you feed your relationship with God, it will grow. He will begin to give you revelation. Your desire for the word will come. Your desire for prayer will come. Like, you will feel an emptiness. You will feel a void. I remember when I was fasting at the beginning of November, and I think I shared this. I did, like, towards the end of the fast, I decided to do like a full-on consecration, which is something that I had never done. Like, not eating at all. What was it? 72 hours, not eating at all. And I never done that. But I was like, God, I needed something from him. And even biblically, it tells us some things only come through prayer and fasting. And I felt like I kept hitting this brick wall, and I needed to go to another level. But I was like, it was just something. And I was like, I feel like it's going to break me doing this. And initially, everything in my mind is like, girl, listen, you can't, you don't. But I was so determined. I made a choice, right? Yeah. And I literally felt my body, my flesh, warring against my willing spirit. Like, all of a sudden, I eat bread. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm not saying like bread just came out of nowhere. But for day one, I was so determined. But like by day two, like, I went upstairs, and I always go upstairs, and I'm always in the kitchen because I would still even cook for my family. Yeah. I seen that bread in the bread box, and for some reason, on day two, it was just like, all right, you starting to feel weak. Just take a piece of bread. God honors that. And I felt my spirit go, no. Yeah. Good. Maintain. I got you. You got this. Like, and that was like the most mind-blowing feeling for me. I couldn't do nothing after that but go in my bedroom and start crying and worshiping, because I'm like, God, I thank you. It was because I prayed for strength.
Like the enemy speaking to God in the word.
Okay, like Jesus in the thing. I can give you all of these things. You can't give him nothing that ain't yours.
Exactly.
That's his already.
It is.
Jesus. He was like, and I told you, it is written, like, Jesus, I got this image of Jesus in my head. He was the boss, period. Yes. Between him and Paul in the book of Acts was boss. Like, boss. Boss for real. But okay, we've talked. This video was great. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here with us. It was amazing. Please give me, we're going to give, you could tell Facebook for Tender Loving Totes. What is that? And then the Cashapp, but I'm also going to put the information so you all can have it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so for Tender Loving Totes, the nonprofit, we help homeless individuals and also people in shelters. For Christmas time, we're helping a family of 7. We bought them their Christmas gifts already. We're also helping people with some groceries as we speak. So you can find us on Tender Loving Totes on Facebook. You could just put Tender, then Loving, then Totes, TOTES, on Facebook. And we also have an Instagram. Tender Loving Totes is all together. And then our Cash App is, of course, the money sign, and then Tender Loving Totes all together. And if you follow us on Facebook, you also see we have a PayPal there. But we don't just take monetary donations. If people want to actually get together and do drives and collect for us the stuff that we need, toiletries. The wintertime, we give hats, socks, gloves, and also we give snacks inside the bags as well. So you guys are willing, whatever people donate to us, we find a way to put them in the bags. So it's not only just money. You could actually give items, and we'll put them in the bags. And also, that's about it. So Tender Loving Totes, Facebook, Instagram, PayPal, and Cash App.
Okay, and I will insert that information. Thank you,
Thank you.
again, Erika, for being here. She was amazing, guys. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find a reason to bring her back on here.
No
I
problem.
got more questions
That's
about the testimony. We're gonna find something else. Y'all gonna see her picture again real soon. But remember, as I always say, live in purpose, on purpose. I love you all. Make sure you follow Tender Loving Totes, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, I forgot to mention to you, if you decide to donate either via Cash App or donate the items on this flyer right here, please make sure you let them know that you watched the Ask 15 Questions video and you was extremely blessed. Have a great day.
I believe everything I said is true. The word is inside you.